The morning sun cast long shadows across Zara's farm on verdant prime as she walked through her fields with careful steps. Her boots made soft sounds on the dirt path between rows of crystal plants that grew in perfect lines. These plants were not like the green ones from other worlds, but clear like glass, and they sang when the wind touched them. The sound was gentle and made her feel calm. Beside her walked Shimmer, her companion for 10 years now. Shimmer was a Loomis, a creature that looked like living crystal, but moved with grace. The creature stood as tall as Zara's waist and had 6 legs that ended in soft pads. Its body was clear but filled with light that changed colors from blue to green to gold. When Shimmer was happy, the light danced inside its crystal form like tiny stars. Zara reached out and touched Shimmer's smooth surface. The creature made a soft humming sound that she felt in her mind rather than heard with her ears. This was how the Loomis spoke to their bonded partners. Through touch and thought, they shared feelings and simple ideas. It was a gift that few beings in the galaxy could do. But today something was wrong. Shimmer's light was not as bright as it should be. The colors inside the creature moved slowly like thick liquid instead of dancing like fire. Zara felt worry in her chest as she noticed how her friend moved with less energy than before. They had been partners since Zara was young. Her father had helped her bond with Shimmer when the creature was just a small thing no bigger than her hand. Now they worked together every day on the farm. Shimmer could sense which plants needed water and which ones were sick. The creature's light helped the crystal plants grow strong and healthy. Zara's people had lived on Verdant Prime for many generations. They had come from a distant world long ago when their home planet became too crowded. Here they found peace and learned to grow the crystal plants that gave them food and shelter. The Loomis had been on this world first and welcomed Zara's people with friendship. As they walked through the fields, Zara noticed that other Loomis in the distance seemed to move slowly too. The creatures that helped other farmers looked tired. Their lights were dim like candles about to go out. This made Zara feel scared. She had never seen the Loomis act this way before. By midday, Shimmer could barely walk. The creature sat down beside a crystal plant, and the light inside its body flickered like a dying flame. Zara knelt beside her friend and placed both hands on the smooth crystal surface. Through their bond, she felt pain and weakness. Shimmer was sick, but Zara did not know what was wrong. She helped Shimmer walk back to their home, a simple building made from grown crystal that glowed softly in the dark. Inside, she made her friend comfortable on a bed of soft grass from the fields. The creature's light was now so dim that Zara could barely see it. Fear filled Zara's heart as she contacted the village healer on her communication device. The healer was an old woman named Vera, who knew more about Loomis than anyone else on the colony. When Vera arrived an hour later, her face was dark with worry. Vera examined Shimmer with gentle hands and special tools that could see inside the creature's crystal body. After a long time, she stood up and shook her head. The news was bad. Many Loomis across the colony were getting sick with the same illness. No one knew what was causing it or how to stop it. Over the next few days, more Loomis became ill. The creatures that had been bright and active were now weak and dim. Some of the oldest ones had already died, their crystal bodies turning gray and lifeless. The farms began to fail without the Loomis to help care for the crystal plants. Zara stayed by Shimmer's side day and night. She tried everything she could think of to help her friend. She brought the creature's favorite foods and sang the old songs that Shimmer loved. but nothing worked. Each day, the light inside her companion grew weaker. The colony's best doctors came to study the sick Loomis. They ran tests and tried different treatments, but nothing helped. The disease seemed to drain the life force from the creatures in a way that no medicine could fix. The doctors said it was like the Loomis were burning out from the inside. As the sickness spread, fear grew among Zara's people. Without the Loomis, the colony could not survive. The crystal plants would die, and the people would have no food or shelter. Some began to talk about leaving Verdant Prime to find a new home. Zara would not give up on Shimmer. She held her friend close and whispered words of love and hope. Through their bond, she tried to share her own strength with the dying creature. But she was only one person, and Shimmer grew weaker each hour. On the 7th day of the illness, Vera came to Zara's home, with tears in her eyes. She told Zara that the doctors had given up hope. They said Shimmer would die within the next day or two. There was nothing more they could do. That night, Zara sat beside Shimmer and watched the last bits of light flicker inside her friend's crystal body. She thought about all the years they had spent together working in the fields and sharing quiet moments. The bond between them was the strongest thing in her life, and soon it would be broken forever. As she held Shimmer close, Zara looked up at the night sky through her window. Above the planet, she could see the lights of ships in orbit. Some of them belonged to traders from other worlds who came to buy crystal plants. Others belonged to the humans who had recently started visiting their system. Zara had heard stories about humans and their amazing abilities to heal the sick, but her people had little contact with them beyond simple trade. Now, as she faced losing Shimmer, she wondered if the humans might have answers that her own people did not. Dr. Lisa Grant stood in the laboratory aboard the human research ship Explorer's Dawn and studied the data flowing across her screens. The ship moved through space near the edge of the Verdant system, where it had been conducting routine surveys for the past 3 weeks. Lisa was a xenobiologist, which meant she studied alien life forms and how they worked. She was a small woman with brown hair tied back in a simple knot and green eyes that missed nothing. For 15 years, she had traveled to different worlds, studying creatures that most humans had never seen. Her specialty was understanding how alien beings used energy in their bodies to live and grow. The ship's communication officer called Lisa to the bridge, where Captain Roy Henderson waited with a worried look on his face. Roy was a tall man with gray hair who had been exploring space for 20 years. He respected Lisa's knowledge, but sometimes worried about her willingness to take risks to help alien beings. On the main screen was a message that had just arrived from Verdant Prime. Lisa read the desperate words from the colony's leaders, asking for help with a disease that was killing their Loomis companions. The message included medical data and images of the sick creatures. Lisa felt her heart beat faster as she studied the information. The symptoms described in the message were similar to something she had encountered before on a world called Nexus 7. There, she had found creatures that lived by using bioelectric energy, and they had been attacked by a virus that fed on their life force. She turned to Captain Henderson and asked permission to go down to the planet to help the sick Loomis. The captain shook his head and reminded her of the rules about interfering with alien cultures. The humans had agreements with many worlds, but they were supposed to avoid getting too involved in local problems. Lisa argued that this was different because the colonists had asked for help and lives were at stake. She explained that she might be the only person in the area who understood this type of disease. If she was right about what was making the Loomis sick, then time was running out to save them. The ship's senior officers gathered in the meeting room to discuss Lisa's request. Some of them worried that helping might cause problems with other alien governments who preferred that humans stayed out of their affairs. Others thought that refusing to help when they could would be wrong. Dr. Carl Murphy, who studied alien cultures, said that Verdant Prime had always been friendly to human traders and had never caused any trouble. The colony was small and peaceful and had asked for help in a proper way. Commander Jane Phillips, who was in charge of ship security, worried about the risks to Lisa if she went down to an alien world alone. Captain Henderson listened to all the arguments and then made his decision. He would allow Lisa to take a shuttle down to the planet with basic medical equipment, but she would have to work quickly and carefully. She could not stay long or get too involved in the colony's affairs. Lisa spent the next few hours preparing for her mission. She packed her portable scanners and medical tools along with samples of treatments she had used before on energy-based life forms. She also brought communication devices so she could stay in contact with the ship. The shuttle flight down to Verdant Prime took 2 hours. As Lisa flew through the planet's atmosphere, she saw vast fields of crystal plants that sparkled in the sunlight. The colony settlements were small and built from materials that looked like grown crystal rather than metal or stone. She landed near the main town where colony officials waited to meet her. They were tall, thin beings with pale skin and large eyes who moved with careful grace. Their leader was a woman named Elder Corin, who thanked Lisa for coming to help their people. Elder Corin explained that the Loomis sickness had been spreading for more than a week. Almost half of the creatures were now ill, and several had already died. Without the Loomis, the colony would not be able to survive because the creatures were needed to help grow their food and maintain their homes. Lisa asked to see some of the sick Loomis right away so she could begin her examination. Elder Corin took her to a building where several ill creatures were being cared for by worried colonists. The Loomis lay on soft beds, and their crystal bodies barely glowed with faint light. Using her medical scanners, Lisa examined the sick creatures and compared what she found to her memories of the disease from Nexus 7. The energy patterns were very similar, but not exactly the same. This virus had changed somehow and adapted to attack the Loomis in their own unique way. One of the colonists caring for a sick Loomis was a young woman with sad eyes who held her companion gently. Lisa could see the strong bond between them and understood the pain the woman was feeling. The Loomis was very close to death and might not live through the night. Lisa introduced herself to the woman whose name was Zara. She explained that she had seen a similar disease before and might be able to help. But the treatment she had in mind was dangerous and had never been tried on this type of creature before. Zara looked at Lisa with hope in her eyes and begged her to try anything that might save Shimmer. Lisa knelt beside the dying Loomis and placed her scanner against its crystal surface. The readings confirmed her fears. The creature had only hours left to live. She told Zara that she would need to try an experimental treatment that involved using her own body to channel energy into the sick Loomis. It was risky for both Lisa and the creature, but it might be their only chance. As Lisa prepared her equipment, she contacted Captain Henderson on her communication device. She reported that the situation was worse than expected and asked for permission to attempt the dangerous treatment. The captain was not happy, but agreed to let her try. Lisa looked at Shimmer lying so still and dim on the bed while Zara held the creature with trembling hands. She had never attempted this type of energy transfer with a Loomis before, and was not sure if her human biology would be compatible. But seeing the desperate love between Zara and her companion, Lisa knew she had to try. The other sick Loomis in the building watched with their fading lights as Lisa prepared to risk her own life to save one of their kind. She hoped that if the treatment worked on Shimmer, it might lead to a cure for all of them. Time was running out, and she could not wait any longer. Lisa knelt beside Shimmer's still form and carefully placed her hands on the creature's crystal surface. The Loomis felt cold under her palms, and the faint light inside barely flickered like a candle in the wind. Through her portable scanner, she could see the virus eating away at the creature's bioelectric field that gave it life. She had encountered this type of energy vampire virus once before on Nexus 7, but that had been different. On that world, the infected creatures could be treated with special machines that cleaned their energy systems. Here on Verdant Prime, she had no such machines and would have to use her own body as the treatment device. Zara sat beside them with tears running down her face as she watched her dying companion. She had been bonded with Shimmer for 10 years, and the thought of losing her friend was breaking her heart. Lisa could see the love between them and knew she had to try everything possible to save the creature. The treatment Lisa planned was based on something she had learned during her studies of human bioelectric fields. All living things used electrical energy in their bodies, but humans had developed some unique abilities over thousands of years of evolution. They could survive electrical shocks that would kill other species, and some humans could even generate small amounts of bioelectric energy on their own. Lisa had discovered during her research that she was one of those rare humans who could control her bioelectric field. She had used this ability before to help alien creatures, but never in such a dangerous way. What she planned to do now could seriously hurt her or even kill her. She explained to Zara that she would try to use her own life energy to jumpstart Shimmer's failing systems while also burning out the virus that was killing the creature. The process would require her to channel raw bioelectric power through her human nervous system, which was not designed for such things. Elder Corin and several other colonists gathered around to watch as Lisa prepared for the dangerous procedure. She checked her equipment one more time and contacted Captain Henderson on her communication device to report what she was about to attempt. The captain ordered her to be careful and to stop immediately if she felt she was in danger. Lisa placed both hands firmly on Shimmer's crystal surface and closed her eyes. She began to focus her mind on the bioelectric energy that flowed through her body. It took several minutes of deep concentration before she could feel the familiar tingling sensation that meant she was ready to begin. Slowly, she started to channel energy from her own nervous system into Shimmer's body. At first, nothing seemed to happen, and Lisa worried that her human energy might not be compatible with Loomis biology. But then she felt a small response from the dying creature as its systems tried to accept the power she was offering. The energy transfer was more difficult than anything Lisa had ever attempted. She had to push her bioelectric field far beyond its normal limits while carefully controlling the flow so she would not overwhelm Shimmer's delicate systems. Sweat began to form on her forehead as the strain of the procedure grew. After several minutes, Lisa felt the first signs that the treatment might be working. Shimmer's crystal body began to grow slightly warmer under her hands, and the faint light inside started to brighten just a little. But the virus was fighting back, and Lisa could feel it trying to drain away the energy she was providing. She knew she had to increase the power if she wanted to kill the virus completely. Taking a deep breath, Lisa opened her bioelectric field, even wider, and let more energy flow through her body into Shimmer. The effort sent waves of pain through her nervous system, but she refused to stop. As the energy transfer intensified, something amazing began to happen. Lisa's skin started to glow with soft light as the bioelectric power flowed through her. The air around her hands crackled with small sparks of electricity, and her hair seemed to move in an invisible wind created by the energy field. Zara gasped in wonder as she watched the human woman become surrounded by dancing lights. Lisa looked like she was made of fire and lightning as she poured her life force into the dying Loomis. The other colonists stepped back in awe at the sight of this human who seemed to burn with inner light. But the strain was becoming too much for Lisa's body to handle. Blood began to trickle from her nose as her nervous system was pushed past its limits. Her hands shook with the effort of controlling so much power, and she felt like she might pass out from the pain. Just when Lisa thought she could not continue any longer, she felt something change in Shimmer's energy pattern. The virus that had been feeding on the creature's life force suddenly began to weaken as Lisa's pure bioelectric energy burned through its defenses like fire through dry grass. The light inside Shimmer's crystal body began to grow brighter and stronger. Colors that had been dim for days started to dance again inside the creature with renewed life. Lisa felt Shimmer's consciousness stir as the creature began to wake up from its death sleep. But Lisa could not stop the energy transfer yet because she had to make sure the virus was completely destroyed. She pushed herself even harder and felt her bioelectric field expand beyond anything she had thought possible. Her whole body seemed to be made of living light as she became a conduit for pure life energy. The room filled with brilliant light as Lisa reached the peak of her power. Sparks of electricity danced around her like tiny stars, and the air itself seemed to hum with energy. She looked like a being made of fire and lightning as she fought to save Shimmer's life with her own. Finally, Lisa felt the last traces of the virus burn away under the assault of her bioelectric energy. Shimmer's light blazed brighter than it ever had before, and the creature stirred on its bed with new strength. The treatment had worked, but Lisa had paid a terrible price. As she released her hold on the energy transfer, Lisa collapsed to the floor beside Shimmer's bed. Her body shook with exhaustion and pain from what she had put her nervous system through. But she smiled when she saw Shimmer sit up and glow with healthy light for the first time in over a week. Zara rushed to help Lisa, while also reaching out to touch her beloved Shimmer, who was now fully awake and stronger than ever. The bond between them was restored, and Zara could feel her companion's joy and gratitude through their mental connection. Lisa sat on the floor, breathing heavily, while Zara helped her lean against the wall. The energy transfer had drained her more than she expected, but seeing Shimmer alive and glowing with bright light made every moment of pain worth it. The Loomis creature stood on its 6 legs and moved with more energy than it had shown in days. But something was different about Shimmer now. The creature's crystal body glowed much brighter than before, and the colors inside danced with an intensity that Zara had never seen. It was as if Lisa's human bioelectric energy had not just healed Shimmer, but had somehow made the creature stronger than it was before. Elder Corin knelt beside Lisa and examined her with worried eyes. The human woman was pale and weak from the effort of channeling so much energy through her body. Small burns marked her hands where the electricity had been strongest, and her nervous system would need time to recover from the strain. As Lisa rested, she noticed something important about Shimmer's new energy patterns on her scanner. The bioelectric treatment had not only killed the virus, but had created something like antibodies in the creature's system. These antibodies were made of pure energy, and they seemed to be able to fight off any similar virus attacks. She explained to Zara and Elder Corin that Shimmer might now be immune to the disease that had been killing the Loomis across the colony. Even better, the creature's enhanced energy field might be able to help cure other sick Loomis by sharing its new antibodies with them. To test this theory, they brought one of the other dying Loomis closer to Shimmer. The sick creature was barely alive, and its light had almost completely faded. But when Shimmer touched it with one crystal leg, something amazing happened. Light flowed from the healthy creature into the sick one like water flowing downhill. Within minutes, the dying Loomis began to recover. Its crystal body grew warm, and light started to dance inside it again. The virus that had been killing it was destroyed by the antibodies that Shimmer shared through touch. Soon the creature was standing and moving with restored health. Word of the miracle spread quickly through the colony as more colonists brought their sick Loomis to be healed by Shimmer's touch. Each creature that was cured became stronger than before, just like Shimmer had. They all gained the ability to create energy, antibodies, and could help heal other sick Loomis. Lisa watched in amazement as the healing spread from creature to creature across the colony. Her single act of desperate courage had started a chain reaction that was saving the entire Loomis population. The enhanced creatures seemed to understand their new role and moved willingly from farm to farm, helping their sick friends. Over the next 2 days, Lisa and Zara traveled together to different settlements across Verdant Prime. Shimmer came with them and used its new abilities to heal dozens of sick Loomis. Each healing session taught Lisa more about how the energy transfer worked and how human bioelectric fields could help alien life forms. The colonists, who had been afraid and hopeless just days before now, looked at Lisa with wonder and gratitude. They had never seen anything like what she had done, and many began to think that humans might have abilities that their own people could not understand. Some even suggested that Lisa was touched by divine power. But Lisa knew the truth was simpler than that. Humans had evolved in ways that made them good at surviving electrical damage, and some humans could control their bioelectric fields with training and practice. What made her special was not magic, but the willingness to risk her own life to help others. As they visited more settlements, Lisa noticed that the enhanced Loomis were developing new abilities beyond just healing. They could sense diseases in crystal plants from far away, and their light could make crops grow faster and stronger. The creatures were becoming like guardians for the entire colony. The colonial government that had been planning to evacuate the planet now began to make new plans for growth and expansion. With the Loomis healthier and stronger than ever before, the colonists could grow more food and build larger settlements. They started to see a future filled with hope instead of fear. Captain Henderson contacted Lisa regularly to check on her progress and health. He was amazed by the reports he received about the healing of the Loomis and the positive changes happening across the colony. What had started as a simple rescue mission was turning into the foundation for a new relationship between humans and Verdant Prime. Dr. Carl Murphy came down from the ship to study what Lisa had accomplished and document the process for future reference. He was fascinated by how human bioelectric abilities could be used to help alien species and wanted to learn if other humans might be able to do similar things. Elder Corin called a meeting of the Colonial Council to discuss how to thank Lisa for saving their people. The colonists wanted to offer her gifts and honors, but Lisa told them that seeing the Loomis healthy again was reward enough. She had become a xenobiologist to help alien life forms, and this was exactly the kind of work she loved most. but the council insisted on doing something special to show their gratitude. They decided to build a monument in the main settlement that would tell the story of how a human woman wrapped in fire and light had saved their beloved companions. The monument would remind future generations of the friendship between their people and humanity. As the healing work continued, Lisa began to feel stronger, and her body recovered from the strain of the energy transfer. The burns on her hands healed quickly, and her nervous system adapted to its new capabilities. She discovered that the experience had actually enhanced her own bioelectric abilities and made her better at helping other species. Shimmer stayed close to Lisa during their travels and seemed to understand that the human woman was responsible for its new life. Through its bond with Zara, the creature expressed gratitude and affection for Lisa that touched her heart deeply. She had formed connections with alien beings before, but never anything as strong as this. The success on Verdant Prime gave Lisa ideas for helping other worlds where similar problems might exist. She began to plan research projects that would explore how human bioelectric abilities could be used in xenobiological medicine. Her work here might be the beginning of a whole new field of study. By the end of the week, every Loomis on Verdant Prime had been healed and enhanced by the spreading cure that started with Shimmer. The colony was stronger than it had ever been, and the relationship between the colonists and their crystal companions had deepened through the shared experience of nearly losing each other. The morning sun rose over Verdant Prime, painting the crystal fields with colors of gold and silver as Lisa prepared for her departure. 2 weeks had passed since she first arrived to help the dying Loomis, and now every creature on the planet glowed, with health and strength that surpassed anything seen before. Lisa stood in Zara's home, packing her medical equipment and research notes into transport cases. Her work here was done, and Captain Henderson had ordered her to return to the ship so they could continue their survey mission. But leaving felt harder than she had expected because of the bonds she had formed with Zara and the colonists. Shimmer watched Lisa pack with crystal eyes that seemed to understand what was happening. The creature had grown even brighter over the past few days and now served as a beacon that could be seen from kilometers away. Other Loomis came to Shimmer when they sensed danger or sickness anywhere on the planet, because the creature had become their guardian and protector. Zara sat beside her beloved companion with mixed feelings in her heart. She was grateful beyond words for what Lisa had done, but sad to see her new friend leave. During their time together working to heal the sick Loomis, she had learned much about human courage and determination that impressed her deeply. Elder Corin arrived with several council members to escort Lisa to her shuttle and give her a formal farewell. The colonists had prepared gifts, including samples of their finest crystal plants and art objects that showed the story of how she had saved their world. They wanted her to remember Verdant Prime and perhaps return someday. As they walked through the settlement, Lisa saw how much had changed since her arrival. The colonists moved with new confidence, and their enhanced Loomis companions glowed brighter than stars. Children played in gardens where crystal plants grew taller and more beautiful than ever before. The whole colony seemed to pulse with renewed life. The monument the colonists had built stood in the center of town, made from the clearest crystal that could be grown. It showed the image of a human woman, surrounded by light with her hands placed on a Loomis creature. Words carved in both human and colonial languages told the story of the healing miracle that had saved their world. At the shuttle landing site, A crowd of colonists had gathered to say goodbye to Lisa. Many of them brought their Loomis companions, who added their own farewell by creating a display of dancing lights that filled the air with rainbow colors. The sight was so beautiful that Lisa felt tears come to her eyes. Captain Henderson had come down from the ship to personally oversee Lisa's return and to meet with the colonial leaders about establishing formal relations between their peoples. The success of Lisa's mission had opened doors that had been closed before, and both sides wanted to explore new possibilities for cooperation. Elder Corin presented Lisa with a special gift that surprised her. It was a small crystal that had been grown by Shimmer using the creature's enhanced abilities. The crystal contained a trace of the energy that Lisa had shared with Shimmer and would always glow with soft light. It was a piece of verdant prime that she could carry with her wherever she went. Lisa thanked the colonists for their kindness and promised that she would not forget what they had accomplished together. She told them that her experience on their world had taught her new things about the connections between different species and how cooperation could create miracles that neither side could achieve alone. As she prepared to board her shuttle, Zara approached with Shimmer walking beside her. The young colonist thanked Lisa once more for saving her beloved companion and asked if she would consider returning to Verdant Prime to establish a permanent research station where they could continue to study the enhanced Loomis and their new abilities. Lisa was touched by the offer and told Zara that she would speak with her superiors about the possibility. The idea of working long-term with the colonists and their Loomis companions appealed to her greatly. There was still much to learn about how human bioelectric abilities could help other species. Captain Henderson announced that he had received approval from Human Space Command to establish diplomatic relations with Verdant Prime. The colony would become humanity's first formal ally in this sector of space, and trade agreements were already being discussed. Lisa's act of courage had created benefits that would last for generations. Dr. Carl Murphy had documented everything about Lisa's energy transfer procedure and the healing of the Loomis. His reports would be studied by scientists across human space and might lead to new medical techniques that could help many different alien species. The knowledge gained on Verdant Prime would spread far beyond this single world. As the shuttle lifted off from the planet's surface, Lisa looked down at the crystal, fields that sparkled like jewels in the sunlight. She could see the bright lights of the enhanced Loomis moving through the settlements like living stars. The sight filled her with pride at what they had accomplished together. During the flight back to the Explorer's Dawn, Lisa thought about how much this mission had changed her understanding of what humans could do when they were willing to take risks to help others. Her bioelectric abilities had saved an entire species and created new possibilities for cooperation between different worlds. Captain Henderson told Lisa that Space Command was so impressed with her work that they wanted her to lead a new project studying bioelectric medicine for alien species. She would have her own research ship and team of specialists to explore how human abilities could be used to help beings on other worlds. The offer excited Lisa because it meant she could continue the work that had begun on Verdant Prime. There were probably other worlds where similar problems existed and other species that could benefit from human bioelectric healing techniques. She accepted the assignment with enthusiasm. 3 months later, Lisa returned to Verdant Prime aboard her new research vessel with a team of scientists and medical specialists. The colonists welcomed them with celebrations that lasted for days, and Shimmer greeted Lisa like an old friend by surrounding her with warm light. The research station they built became a center for studying cross-species medicine and energy healing. Students came from many worlds to learn about the techniques that had been developed there. Zara became Lisa's partner in the research, and together they made discoveries that helped beings across the galaxy. Years passed, and the story of the human, who had wrapped herself in fire and light to save a dying alien companion, became legend. But for Lisa and Zara, it remained a simple truth about what could happen when beings from different worlds chose to help each other, despite the risks and differences between them. Shimmer lived long and bright, serving as guardian and healer. For all the Loomis on Verdant Prime, while the bond between human and colonial peoples grew stronger with each passing year. The miracle that had begun with one desperate act of courage became the foundation for a new age of cooperation and friendship among the stars.